So I was browsing around on eBay the other day, yes you do, and I came across a joystick. I've been wanting to get a joystick for my Amiga rebuild project for a while now. But I don't really want to spend anything on it because I'm trying to build this up for a minimum possible amount. But I came across this joystick going for just £1.99, and that's a buy it now, not a bid price. And it's billed as the worst joystick you will find on eBay. I thought, well, at £2 you can't go wrong really, can you? So I bought it. The label on the bag that it comes in says almost dead. Almost dead. I think that's not just dead, I think that has been hung, drawn and most definitely quartered. So I'm going to see if I can fix it, get it working properly again, make it look like new. So I think it's safe to say that nothing much works here on this joystick. It's, well, it's in pieces basically. I think the only thing that does work, possibly that switch at the top works, this trigger works, this button doesn't, and of course the rest of it is just in a complete mess. It uses these little spring buttons which click, which is a good sign. So hopefully it's just going to be a case of finding some new screws, giving it a clean up, putting it back together and sorting out this button. So without further ado, let's take the joystick part of it apart and see what's going on with this here button. So there's just 3 screws holding this handle together. So let's quickly undo them. One. And 2. A bit rusty. Given the age of this joystick, it's actually not too bad condition really. The plastic doesn't appear to be cracked in any way, just lacking its screws, button not working. Okay, we are in, and again this uses the springy style buttons like the other board does. I was hoping that it would be, come on at you, it would be proper micro switches in the handle here, but nope. It uses these same spring ones, and in fact this one has no spring at all in it, which is slightly concerning. So that's going to need a completely new button in some way. So I may actually have to somehow craft a new button. It's just a leaf of metal and a spring. You can see it better in the trigger one here. You basically have a thin leaf of metal attached to a spring. You push the spring in and it causes the leaf to just pop down. So this one here doesn't have any of that. No leaf, no spring, just the contact inside. So rebuilding that's going to be interesting to say the least. I think that is really hopefully going to be the only problem with this. The rest of it is just a case of cleaning it up and putting it back, ugh, that's disgusting, together. This is, by the way, this is the QuickJoy 2 Turbo SV124. Made in China, of course. No date on there, there's no nothing really to get a date code off. Possibly one of these transistors on here might. Let's have a look. 9014. Week 14 of 1990. Could be. Oh, one of these wires has popped off as well. That's going to need resoldering. The whole thing really is going to want resoldering, I think, as part of the cleanup. Right. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this lack of a button yet. I shall have to dig through my bits boxes to see what I can find that might do the job. Or I might actually replace that whole switch unit with an actual micro switch out of a mouse. That might work. If I can get it lined up right, there's plenty of room to drill some holes through. Let's get that over there. To drill some holes through and cut back the copper slightly. That might possibly be a decent way of doing it. I shall have to experiment with that. For now, I'm going to turn my attention to the main circuit board, give that a clean up, a retouch of the soldering, and make sure that these buttons all actually function. I'm going to start by just removing all the wires. I've made a note of the order of the colours here. That's good. I can get rid of all of that lot now. And now I can work on cleaning up. Let's just get rid of the old solder off here. Okay, now that's done. Let's clean it off a bit. I need some isopropyl alcohol for that. Well, if nothing else, it is at least sterile now. Now I need to test the buttons, make sure they're all working. Okay, I've got my multimeter set up to beep when touched. Let's have a look. We flip the board over. How the contacts work. It looks like that and these are all the same contact with that at the button. So when that is pressed, not the best contact in the world, but it does work. And this one, come on. It's contacting, but it's very high resistance. And this one here, not much of a contact there. Is kind of contacting. Again, very high resistance, takes a while for it to work its way down again. And this one here, there we go. I think partially it's an inability for me to contact too well with the old solder. But the major problem, I think, is the contacts in these are rather old and crusty and need a bit of a clean. Although I know they shouldn't really corrode as such, but maybe I need to take the leaf contacts out and just give them a bit of a clean up. Okay, let's test these again. That's not too bad. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Right, they're pretty ropey, these buttons, but hopefully they will actually operate, because you don't need a perfect connection for a digital joystick signal. So I'm going to put this back in the joystick after cleaning the joystick up and see what happens. Well, we're making some progress. I've given the joystick a thorough cleaning in hot soapy water. Still got a few crusty bits to get off with some alcohol. I shall do that towards the end. But it clicks quite happily in all directions. Good definite action to it. I've tested the cable. The cable is all fine. There is the telltale signs of wear and tear. It's I don't know if we'll get this on camera. A slight bulging just here, just about make it out. As the cable enters the moulding, there's a slight bulging, which is usually a telltale sign that the cable's going at that point. But fortunately, it's still working at the moment, as far as I can tell. So my next job is to tackle this faulty switch. I've already removed it. And I cut a couple of extra holes into the circuit board. It's just SRBP, this synthetic resin bonded paper, which is very easy to cut and drill. And I'm going to attach a small micro switch. This is the kind of micro switch that you get in mice for the mouse buttons. This one is an Osram one. These are the high quality ones. Nothing but the best for my joystick. And the idea is I shall mount the switch where the original button was. It's a tight fit intentionally, which goes, if I get to the original handle, slots into here at that location, and the button goes over it like that, with this piece here was originally pressing the spring. Now this is too high for this, so I'm going to have to cut off the plastic on the inside so that that will then fit back in and hopefully press that button perfectly. Then on the back I can solder in here and jumper a wire over to the other side. Not sure about soldering the third pin or not. I might do, I might not. And I might stick the whole thing down just with a little blob of super glue just to make sure that it doesn't move. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll give me a new working button. So I think the next job will be to solder this in, make sure that I've got the right pins. Oops, I just knocked over my little glass of vinegar. In here I've got the screws from the handle, just cleaning the rust off them. And now my desk is going to smell like a chip shop. Great. Let's mop that up. Okay. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my own clumsiness, let's make sure that I've got the right pins. We've got, let's focus and move across. There are 3 pins on one of these. One common, one normally open, one normally closed. And doesn't actually show, as far as I can see, which is which, or does it? No, there is no markings to show which is which, but the spacings are slightly asymmetric, which I guess helps when building things. So let's put this back in the board. Let's find which is currently connected. The 2 outside ones are currently connected. Then I press it and the middle one and this end are connected. So this end is common, that's normally open and that's normally closed. So the first job will be solder in place. Just hold it in with a bit of solder. Where's my solder gone? There it is. Let's solder the normally closed in. Just a very rough soldering just to hold it all in place. Now the common is in the middle of a big hole. So what I'm going to do here actually is take a little screwdriver and carefully fold that pin over and press it down against the circuit board so that I can then solder it better. This is quite oxidized, this copper, so I'm going to just put a bit of flux on there. Battery's going flat in the camera. Back in one moment. Okay, new battery. I've taken this opportunity to get a bit of a better angle on this now so you can see better what I'm doing. So we've got the button mounted hopefully in just the right position, and I'm now just about to solder down my flattened pin while still making it visible for you. Okay, so that's soldered to there. All that's left now, actually I'll just add some more solder to the normally closed pin. Just bulk that out a bit for extra strength. Okay, all that's left now is to connect the normally open pin. I've cut around it with a little drill bit just to remove the copper. Can't focus very well on it there. So that would normally connect to here, which goes straight to this orange wire here. So what I'm going to do is just take this orange wire, rather than jumping a wire across to it, I'm just going to take the orange wire and, if I can find my tweezers again, wrap it around this pin. If it will wrap, come on. There we go, wrap it around that pin and solder it. Okay, that should give me a new trigger button, a new thumb button. But first I shall need to trim this off. So I'm going to start off with just my wire cutters. Cut that flat, I think. Okay, hopefully this cross point here is exactly where it'll be striking. So let's try it out. That goes there, that hopefully can go in front. It's kind of working. It's not sure if it's just because it's loose, but it's quite sensitive and it doesn't move farther. But then that's micro switches for you. But I think that is now going to work. I'm going to rebuild this and see just how it feels. And there we have it. The worst joystick you can find on eBay. Restored. But I don't know if it actually works yet. Everything clicks, it's all back together, it's clean, it looks lovely. But does it work? There's only one way to find out, and that's connect it up to my Amiga and start playing some games. Well, it's almost working. We've got up, down and right, no left. I can't go left. I've got up and down and I've got right. Auto fireworks. Bit of a pain without left. Okay, now to diagnose why isn't left working. So we are so close with this. It's all working except left. So let's open it up again. And then find out why there is no left. I suspect it's these useless button springy leaf thingies. They're not the most reliable system in the world. So if it's left that's not working, that's that way, and that presses down on the left side, which is this one here. And it clicks quite happily, but there is no activity. Right. First things first, multimeter, set to buzz. That's this green wire here. And here. I am seeing nothing. So I'm going to take a needle file and just gently rub between them if I can get it in. Give it a bit of a roughing up. A bit fat, these needle files. I might have to resort to taking this one apart again. Although that said, unless I'm shorting out on the leaf, no. I might be, no, that's making contact now. Ish. Certainly better than it was. I think that might possibly now work. In fact, I'm tempted to give it a bit more of a scrape. I've got here a 0.5mm drill bit. Just going to gently rub it over the top of the stud and the bottom of the leaf. There. I think that makes a bit better contact. Right, I'm going to put this back together again and have another play. Yay! I have all direction movement. I can now start playing games again. Hey! Oh, this brings back so many memories. I wish I could play. So there we have it. The Quick Joy joystick, purchased in bits for £2, now as new.